I call the August 16th meeting of the Kingston Springs Board of Commissioners to order. Could everyone please rise and face the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. John, can you call the roll?
Gary Corley. Here. Tony Gross.
Here.
Jeff Lorenz. Here. Glenn Renner.
Here.
Austin. Here.
All right, we have a quorum. The minutes from the July 19th meeting have been circulated, and everyone should have had a chance to go over those. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. On the agenda here, we're going to actually switch things up just a little bit. We're going to make item A is going to be to add Robert Dunn to the agenda, and then we're going to bump everything down, and then item I is going to be an appointment for Planning Commission. Brian McCain.
And that's Robert Dunn and the hoedown on the Hartman.
That's correct. That's correct. All right, do we have a motion to pass the agenda, approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. All right, announcements from commissioners. Gary, do you have anything?
No, I don't have any.
Bob?
Nope.
Jeff?
No.
I'd like to acknowledge the Kingston Springs Police Department and the Cheatham County Sheriff's Department for stopping pursuits with our spike strips twice in this last month here. It's amazing we have that type of equipment with us, and I think it was like the first one we've ever used it, and you've used it twice, so certain too. This is, I really like that, so I'll acknowledge that.
Really cool.
Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
Officers.
Now,
I was coming down the other side of the intersection and that, and I saw the car. And
Oh, you saw it?
So the car run off the road.
all right, community input. If anyone would like to say something to the commission, we got a couple candidates for commission up here that might want to introduce themselves. Just come up to the podium, state your name and address, and introduce yourself, say what you want to say.
Well, good evening. I'm Mike Hargis. I live on Cindy Carpenter Drive, 164, and I appreciate being invited to come down and observe a meeting tonight. So I got registered, and so hopefully one of us will join you this next year after November.
Josh Etheling, 301 Hartford View Trail. Living here since 1985. Slight stint in Knoxville, so kind of excited about running with these two great gentlemen. Don't know Mike and Bob as much as I should, but I think the city can't go wrong this time, so that's a good thing. So it'll be an exciting time these next few months. So thank you.
Thank you. Janet, do you have anything? No?
Hi.
Just here. I just thought I'd check back there to make sure. All right. All right, department reports. Everybody's had a chance to read the department reports. Do we have anything we'd like to add?
I would like to add Officer Jeremy Vaughn.
I don't know Jerry.
Jeremy, no, his brother fell off a ladder today
Oh,
while
no.
he was doing some work at City Hall and was taken by ambulance to Vanderbilt University. The last thing we had heard, he had not broken any bones. They took x-rays, but they were off to CT to see what other issues there might be. Do you have any other updates?
They do think that he has a couple of broken ribs, and they are doing the CT scan, but he was allergic to the dye that they used for it, so they had to do something else, and they think he may have a ruptured spleen.
Oh, jeez.
So thoughts and prayers for Jeremy.
Yeah.
A new bucket truck.
Jeremy.
Yeah, really. I mean, that seems like that would have been a pretty good use for a bucket truck.
It was a short ladder, but a hard fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Know the feeling.
All right. Is there any other department issues?
You what?
I said, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
All right. Legal updates?
Pretty quiet on the legal front this month.
Good. Where are we on the?
Got the Peace Communications, which I sent comments back with John.
Okay.
I think that's on y'all's agenda. And then the one we approved last month, the Planning Commission Peary.
Peary.
Yeah, I want to say Peary. That I think we sent a couple tweaks back. I think we're about finalized on
Signed
that
up.
one. So, yep.
Okay.
And Dixon franchise.
Oh, on Comcast?
Comcast.
I have gotten an email from Kim Sasser Hayting requesting one more minor edit to language and then.
Yeah, that's what I meant, that's what I was.
So, yes, yes. So that's
The
what-
perpetual issue.
Yes, yes, the
okay.
ongoing.
All right, we have no unfinished business from the last meeting. Item A is Mr. Dunn with Hoedown on the Harpeth. Come on up and
All right.
let's hear from you.
Very good. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Awesome. Through the coordination and cooperation with Mr. Grimick and Mr. John Lawless here, we have had discussions of directional signs for the Hoedown on the Harpeth. The Hoedown on the Harpeth is hoping to be an annual event, festival, musical festival that we have for years to come. The mission of the Hoedown on the Harpeth is basically to preserve and celebrate classic country music, the roots and heritage of classic country music. Sure, everyone here is tuned into the radio from time to time, and the music that's coming off the airways of the radio country stations are not exactly what built Music City, USA. Those sounds, we feel, in our beliefs, are from basically 1925 to 1975-ish. You know, it's country music. It gets you a lot of good stuff in that genre, but in that time frame. In the past few years, this will be our third year having the festival, and the first year was, just getting up off the ground. We had about 600 people on site, which was great. We were told 300 to 500 would be a good number if we got that our first year around. So we surpassed that, which was awesome. The second year, we had about a 15% increase to 750 people on site, both years. Minimal traffic issues, not really a big thing to consider or worry about for the city. But both of those years were done with not really a major headliner or a draw name. And that's why I'm here talking with you kind of folks today, is because this third year we are actually stepping it up another notch and have 2, if not 3 or 4 major draw names. It's not like a Charlie Daniels by any means, but in this genre of good classic music, it's going to draw some peeps. Our expectations are to get probably minimum of 1,500 people, which is going to double or so from last year's numbers. I mean, there's the random wild chance, and we hope that we will get more than that, and it could, if all efforts of advertising and marketing and such go as planned, I mean, there could be 2,000 or 3,000 people. I don't really expect that, but it's possible. So therefore, John and I have been talking about directional signs to get people to the Hayshed Farms down the way here so that we don't create chaos for the city of Kingston Springs. Most people will be coming off the interstates and traversing to the farm in that manner. I know that there's a yard sign, directional sign, city ordinance, which honestly I respect and appreciate very much. The ordinances that you guys have for Kingston Springs is great. It promotes a great community. But anyway, I don't want to put a burden on you guys either at the same time. So we have worked out to where 6 directional signs is what John and I have been talking about. That would be on the east and westbound side of the interstate, pointing them in the right direction. Everybody's familiar with Kingston Springs here, so I'm just going to go through the turns. At the T-stop at the bank and the little strip mall there, it's going to take them left. The one going down towards the city, there's that one little funny fork in the road, if you will. We're going to direct them left there, the correct
That's
direction.
my street.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you live on the left.
Don't direct them down that street.
And then, of course, the stop sign right, at the other stop sign left, that will get them to the farm. And very much appreciated, you guys. I know that there's been some conversation amongst you guys prior to this meeting, and thank you very much for working with us on this. So that is the long and the short, and the first topic I want to address with you guys. And we've worked out to where the city of Kingston Springs It's going to have a booth a tent on site to promote the, hey, come visit our info booth and see a part of Kingston Springs. And so I'm more than happy to, trade in kind with the guys on that and promote the city. And I would like to flourish that relationship if we can keep on trucking with the festival. It's just one of those things. We're going to have to see what the numbers look like. It's a labor of love, what we're doing, and we hope to continue forever. I think we've got a good possibility of that. We've had great, I don't know, I'm not going to go rambling on the marketing, but we've done a lot more this year, tenfold from what we've done in the past few years to get everybody's attention on it. So that's the signage. I think, if I'm correct, we've got that kind of under wraps. Is that
How many days will the signs be up?
The signs will be, the festival is Friday and Saturday, and everybody's to leave the farm by noon on Sunday. This year, we're trying to do what we're calling a launch party, just to kind of get everybody's attention, get somebody if they want to come on out early. So the launch party would be Thursday evening, like 5 or 6 on. So if with permission from the city, if we could put those directional signs up maybe, 2 or 3 o'clock or so on Thursday afternoon to get everybody when they get off work, if they're coming out here with their tents. Once again, we don't want them have them wandering around the city. If we could get them there Thursday to Sunday morning-ish, I can definitely put somebody on going and snagging the signs up and getting them out of the way. So.
If I could add something, Mr. Dunn, excuse me for if
No,
I'm interrupting.
please.
As Mr. Dunn has said, the town has partnered with Hoedown on the Harpeth, and the town will have a booth to promote businesses and the town itself at the event. The sign ordinance requires that signage for directional signage be up the days of the event only. So with them beginning Thursday evening, then we'll be within our ordinance to have the signs up Thursday afternoon. They can stay up as long as the event's taking place, and then they'll be taken down as soon as the event's over.
Okay. So yeah, and to add to that, technically noon on Sunday is when the event is over. So awesome. Is there any other questions about the hoedown or anything that's been mentioned?
I don't think so. Anything here, Bob?
I had one question on this number 3, the O Mart. What is that?
That is our merchandise tent. We're just kind of playing on words, if you will. Walmart, Hobart.
Sure.
We're just trying to be hokey and funny about the whole thing.
Okay. And what kind of stuff?
Stuff is t-shirts, hats, drink koozies, stickers. There's some buttons and just general things that say Hoedown Harpeth, for the long and short of it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I have a couple other things that I would like to just discuss if you guys are cool. If I have a little bit more time, I don't know what my time limits are, but the reason I gave you the map is if you don't, may I approach so everybody can have a better view of everything that's going on. If the scenario of we hit the lottery and 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 people come out, or everybody decides to come out at noon at the same time, we obviously know there's a 2-lane highway going to the farm. At the Turnbull Creek Bridge, there's a little, it widens there, and there could be room for a third or an emergency lane if needed. But the reason I have drawn these arrows on the map that you guys have is because this, I don't know how much you guys know Leslie and Randy, they usually use the first driveway to go to their house. We go to the second driveway to bring people into the festival. That's where the Sharpie highlight, the marked arrows are on your map. At the first X is where our check-in booth, where we sell tickets, put wristbands on people's arms and all that jazz. I don't want to create a traffic jam. I don't want to create a stop on the road by any means. But I do want you to be aware that it may be a possibility. If not this year, down the road in years to come. The following 2 X's that are on your map will be, for sure this year and forevermore, if we keep going, tents set up. So on the fly, if we see traffic jam on Kingston Springs Road, we can move the check-in booth, and this will gain us about an eighth of a mile, and the second X will gain us about another eighth of a mile. So we can continue to get traffic off the road. And I just want y'all to be aware that I don't want to cause havoc here or any of that.
Because your
So-
strategy is to, as people are pulling in, get your tickets and money and then you park them, versus parking them and then getting your tickets and money.
Correct, yeah, it's kind of like, okay, you're clear to be on site, and you got your wristband that says so. Yeah, thanks for the clarity, yeah, that's part of that. That's basically the whole reason for this map, so I just wanted to be clear for you guys to understand.
And technically it's outside the city limits.
Correct, right,
So-
but if there was a backup, the creek is pretty much the city limits, so it's going to be into the city of Kingston Springs, so. That's the long and the short of the map, and I just want everybody to kind of be aware that I am wanting to work with you and not create chaos. As far as working with like the city of Kingston Springs and just Tennessee in general, just information, we have a trifold brochure in all of the welcome centers around the state of Tennessee. So we're working with Tennessee Tourism, we're approved and the checklist and all that jazz. So it's just, we're here to promote this city. The hoedown on the Harpeth is, we want everybody to enjoy and love the beautiful little town that we have here. It's great. But just the long and short of it, we're working to make this thing kind of big, if you can. I'm not by any means looking for a Bonnaroo. I'm just, straight up. I don't want 30, 40, 50, 80,000 people down here.
I don't think you got enough space here for
We
it.
don't. There's a potential other field, but that's a whole nother ball of wax, and we might grow outside that one day. Looking at the field, doing the measurements, doing the math, I can probably easily handle 3,000 to 4,000 people in this field, and parking, RVs, and the whole 9 yards. It'll be tight at that number, but that will be when we'll be busting at the seams kind of thing. I don't expect that this year, but I do hope that we can grow and continue, and if we do, one day that might be a scenario we all have to face. And so I just want to kind of like let y'all know what I'm doing, and we're on that level, we're professional, it's family, fun, we have a whole kids zone that is, it's very inviting for the family. We want, my heart and soul is for everyone in the world not to forget classic country music, how Nashville, Tennessee was built. From the Grand Ole Opry that started in 1925, you look at country music, it's string music, picking on your porch, square dance, bluegrass music. It goes into rockabilly, is in the country music genre. Western swing is in that genre. Outlaw country, Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, those guys. I mean, there's a wide array of music. It's kind of some, if you will, nuts and bolts of Americana and roots music for America. Other than blues and jazz, it's classic country music. And I just don't want to see it gone and lost and be something that nobody knows about. So that's what I'm trying to do. That's the long and short of that. And one more thing on the ambulance for city of Kingston Springs. I know it's parked right here.
It's a county.
It's a county.
Oh, it is a county. I did not know that. I didn't know.
think the county was willing to, the ambulance people were willing to come and hang out and
Wow.
do that.
Okay.
So we'll communicate with them directly.
That'd be great. I mean,
It
it's like
actually
a
depends
mile
on-
away or whatever.
It's actually up to the driver on duty. My research I've done is whether they just want to hang out down there or hang
Yeah.
out at the station, either way. But that's what we.
Okay.
They're
Thank
not
you.
over here though, they're over by the schools.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Right
That
next to
building.
the
Okay.
middle
Yeah.
school.
I knew that. There's fire trucks over here, John?
There's lots.
Fire
of
hall
people.
one's right there.
Right. So I didn't know the ambulance. I'm sorry. I live in Pegram.
Are you utilizing the Harpeth High School
Yes.
volunteers?
Yes.
So the
they-
Harpeth High School band would be, or is it the band or is any other?
The band right now, yeah. Noah Taggart and I have been back and forth on conversation. And so that's, the Harpeth High School band volunteers, and we in kind give a donation to them for their time. And on Saturday, most of, I think we've had almost every one of the band members in the past few
over
years.
60, yeah.
Yeah, and they help with parking and kids zone and human barriers, if you will, and just doing things, volunteers on site, trash pickup and all that jazz. So they've been very helpful, and I don't mind giving back. I mean, it was, we're not getting rich right now, and I said, it's a labor of love. It's not something but we're giving back to the band, the school as well, so.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming and letting us know about it.
Appreciate it.
There's the hoedown.
All right.
I hope to see you guys there.
What's the price of admission?
It is, it fluctuates. There's like a graduating price if you get tickets. They're all available online. And it gets up to, I think, $50 for both days at the gate.
And if you're camping.
And camping is $5 per day per person kind of thing if you wanted to camp. 25 or 30 a day. I'm sorry, I don't know that right off the, because it changes. It's changed the last 2 years, and now, and it's just not my department. It takes a village and a small army to do this, but the information that I've given you guys, the www.hoedownontheharpeth.com has all of that information on it. But I do know that right now it's $45 for both days if you buy your tickets in advance. Perfect. At this time frame. So, any other questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys letting me come talk about it. Y'all should come out, have fun. Awesome.
All right, item B is first reading of ordinance 18-003, which is the year-end budget amendments. Anything to add to this, Debbie?
No, I think you all, I provided you with the list to the
Copy
back.
here.
Those are just the amendments that you all made through the year. The books have been closed and things have been turned over to the auditor, so we're in full swing into the new year.
Do we have a motion to approve ordinance 18-003?
Motion to approve.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Thank you,
Motion
Debbie,
passes.
appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Always does an excellent job.
And there'll be a public hearing before the September 20th meeting. for second reading.
Second reading, so yeah, we'll set up. All right, item C is motion to accept the MTS sewer study results. I don't know if you guys all got a chance to read through this. Essentially, what I gathered from it was we were doing things pretty much as we should be doing things. But it was good to, I guess, at least have somebody tell us that we were, so. We have a motion to accept the sewer study results.
Motion to accept the sewer study results.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Item D is motion to approve entering into a contract agreement with Peace Communications for town office telephone services. You guys like to go through this real quick? I know you're looking for some solutions. And
As you may or may not know, the town's, the offices, the telephone services in City Hall and fire halls are, let's just say antiquated. We were looking for some different solutions that did not require us to have a large capital expenditure output on the front end. We landed on Peace Communication. The sheriff's office has been using Peace for the last year or two, and they come highly recommended. The town of Ashland City is entering contract with Peace as well. The expenditure on the front end is going to be fairly minimal comparatively. Probably we'll need to get some new BOE switches, but we kind of needed that anyway. So Martha Brook has reviewed the contract, edits have been made or requested. Those have been sent over to Peace. They're looking at those. Will get back to me on Monday. So we just wanted blessings that we can continue on with this process to update our phones.
Seems quite a reasonable price, too.
It's actually, the monthly fee is going to be $10 less than we currently pay.
With all news,
Perfect.
with all news.
Yeah, let's do it quick.
all right, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Mayor, since this is basically a motion to expend money, we can do a roll call.
Oh, okay.
Yes, thank you.
The roll call, all right, call the roll, John.
Gary Corley,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz,
Yes.
Glenn Remick,
Yes.
Bob Stoll.
Yes.
We revisit the reading on the budget amendment for ordinance 18-003.
Oh, yeah, could we
I'm sorry, I didn't
do a
catch
roll
all
call
that.
on ordinance 18-003?
Gary Corley,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz,
Yes.
Glenn Remick,
Yes?
Bob Stoll.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't catch that when we did that vote.
All right, the next item is the motion to approve the location of the town commission sculpture by Mr. Cupp. I think that we all know about the two various locations. One is right out here, and one is at the library. And I guess there was some, John, would you like to go through? You were the one that received input on this, and
There were two locations that were the location, the approved carving that Lundy Cup will be producing. One is out front here at Beck Hall, and the other is in front of the library. I sent an email to each of you commissioners individually to see what your choice was for those locations. And it did not come back unanimously, so the thought was then there could be a public discussion and a vote on the location for the final resting place of this carving.
all right, is there, I don't know how we want to go about hashing this out. I guess it was,
I would like to inquire whether, the library wishes to have it there. I think that would be the first step in seeing it as an option would be to verify that it is indeed an option.
Janet and I have spoken, and Janet is welcome to the idea of having the carving at the library.
any thoughts, commissioners?
I am all for it being at the library. I feel that having the art there, again, it's art, at the library is, the library seems to be like the heart of the community. We have so many family events there, so many children, so many people can see that there. I think it's a much better fit there at the library than it would be underneath the power lines, next to the power pole, next to the flagpole, right here, next to Beck Hall. I feel that it's the people that I've spoken to many people in our community. I have yet to hear one person say they would like to see it at City Hall. Everyone feels that it's more appropriate to be at the library. Now, I think some of the feelings are that it's the cities and maybe we need to keep it closer to City Hall, but everyone realizes that the library, it's a community. We are a community here on the street. I think it'll be much more visible there too. More people will see it, interact with it, and appreciate it more. I have yet to hear anyone in the public say City Hall. So I don't know if anyone else has kind of done a poll in your neighborhood or around your community, but I've been feeling pressure to state that it needs to be at the library. And I think we would have quite a room full if we were to actually put that out there and challenge that.
So would anyone else have any comments on this? Jeff, Bob, Gary? You have no thoughts on it, on the location of it?
I mean, I'll concur with Commissioner Remick, since he was so passionate.
Okay.
My biggest thing is that the amount of money it is, that it's visible, which location is going to be visible to the most number of people. And I think I can make a decent argument for either location.
It is closer to where the other one is too.
Yeah. Well, I guess we could take a vote on it. I'm a little bit torn on it, but if that's the will of this commission, I'll go along with it. I think that there is some validity to sticking it out here, just because it is a city item, and I love the library, and it's a beautiful place. Strong supporter of the library, but there is a lot going on right in that spot. We've got historical marker, and we've got that post, and we've got the church right there, and the library. It's just, it's going to be a very busy section. I think would be the downside to that. Whereas
the
this,
upside is to where everyone is going to see it if it's that busy there.
What?
Or the upside.
Yeah, or
if
the
it's that
upside, maybe,
busy there,
because
everyone's
people will
gonna
stop
see it.
to see the thing, and
Yeah.
it is as you enter the town, so.
If I may add also, Lundy Cup, his design in which he's described is an older man with a beard that wraps around the tree, and he was willing to put animals of our area, and he was wanting to put books in there too. That was one of the things that he was wanting to do, and I think it would add to the library. Just Lundy's vision. And Lundy once liked it at the library too, so I was definitely supporting the artist.
I believe we are supporting the artist.
Yeah.
We are supporting the artist.
We
And
support
we're
the
I
amazing.
believe
artist.
the 5,000 supports the artist.
55, yeah, 55. So,
All right, Gary, what are your thoughts?
Well, I kind of go along with you, what you said, but I'll go along with everybody else if that's what they want, you know.
Okay. Okay, well, then would someone like to make a motion?
motion to place Lundy Cup's art.
At the
Sculpture.
library? The sculpture?
At the library.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Gary, are you
Aye.
gonna, you're opposing?
Aye.
All right,
There you go.
there we go. All right, so the motion passes and the sculpture will be located right there so Janet can see it first thing every morning. All right.
And again, it's up, you know, if the library wishes to have it, that's when it comes right down to it. If the library
The
really
question
wishes
is,
to have
will
it.
it also be a Pokemon Go stop like the old one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a geocache. Do we need to do anything with the county?
That's a question that I'm not sure of. I mean, the property is ours.
We will, just simply an acknowledgement so that when we're all dead and gone, people will know who really owns it, should it ever need to be moved for any
Yeah.
reason.
Okay.
And then, you know, I don't know, presumably this would be added to our insurance policy, so that if, you know, something, if it got struck by lightning or something like that, there may be, I don't know if y'all checked on adding it to the policy or not. I don't know if that would even be insurable, but that's a thought too. We can add it to our insurance coverage if we need to do that. So it'd be just a simple memorandum of agreement, I think, just acknowledge
The
it.
county, okay. Very good. All right, the next item is motion to approve town staff pursuit of property conservation grant sponsored by the pool. John, would you like to
Yes, the pools
give us a rundown?
has several grants here. One is a property conservation grant, which is basically property security, any measure that a town or municipality is going to use to secure town-owned property that the pool then insures. They will have a matching grant of, for our case, we're class 2 with them, so up to $4,000. It's specific to a project. We had allocated funds for a gate at City Park, so that's a perfect project. It's right up the alley for this grant.
Fantastic.
So,
Oh, great.
if we would be able to submit that as our project, we might be on their short list of receiving that matching money, up to $4,000 for that project.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve town staff to pursue conservation grant.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. The next one is item F, or, well, actually item G, sorry, I messed up the alphabet tonight. Is the motion to accept or not accept a display case that was a gift. Mr. Nix, that lives on Love Street, had a glass display case that he wished to give to the city. And so we have this case in possession, but we have to actually pass a motion to accept said case. Or I guess return it to Mr. Nix.
If I might interject,
Yeah.
if the board chooses not to accept the case from Mr. Nix, we do have someone who could use and would be happy to have the case if Mr. Nix is so inclined.
Okay.
And we need to make you all understand, we have no place to put
Put
this.
the case.
So,
Nowhere.
that's,
Motion to not accept the display case as a gift.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G is the motion to approve, or sorry, item H is a motion to approve town staff creation of a policy, to create a policy outlining rules and procedures for donations to the town of Kingston Springs. Said here. Well, there's also, I believe, there's been some cash donations as well that have come into
Sure,
play.
we've had a lot of donations, offers being made to the city over the last year, I'd say. It varies, even cash, particular items. In general, authority to receive gifts and things like that, where you would think that'd be a no-brainer, that you could just say yes, no. It's not vested in the mayor. The authority, from my reading of the statute, is vested in the board. So I would recommend that we actually set up a policy where we have some pretty good parameters as far as what would take place procedure-wise with respect to a gift, how it can be used or not used or returned. I think that's just a good fiscal policy. Make sure that we're not running afoul of any lack of authority on things. Plus, to be quite honest, in some instances, there may be gifts that you just want to politely decline for different reasons. There may be politically related statements or things like that, so that future commissions may have an ability to politely say no, thank you. If it's not something that the town needs to accept, because there are instances in that case.
In the past, it seems like the city manager has made those decisions, I think, hasn't? I know that I've given money to do a movie for movies in the park. And I don't believe the commission voted to take my donation.
Right. And we could even just formally make that part of the policy, is to vest that authority in your city manager. And with respect to, I know we've had offers of particular items that to certain members of staff, and so state law generally prohibits any employee or anybody getting a gift of $50 or more in value, and so it probably wouldn't hurt just to formally have that. Well, that's state law, just to formally have that in a procedure where our employees and staff could also readily review that.
Okay.
Then we have the fishing tournament, people donate. The Easter hunt, egg hunt, people donate stuff.
Right.
And
And I think when it is a city-sponsored event that the city soliciting donations for, it's a little bit different beast than somebody just coming in and saying, hey, I have this particular item that I want to give, or even just genuinely out of the goodness of their heart, this particular city employee has done a wonderful job, and I'd like to, make a special donation just in honor of that service. That's just a general thing, but we do have to recognize that there are some limits within the law that, we don't want to run afoul of. So I think if we did a policy, I think you are smart to recognize that we probably do need to include a section that says when we are soliciting the donations, then obviously we're going to accept.
we have things like, they say take the concession stand at the ballpark. Block was donated, sand was donated, electric work was donated, lights was donated.
Right.
So we could run into something like that again, so we
Sure.
should have some kind of policy.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the staff creating a policy outlining rules and procedures for donations to the town of Kingston Springs?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And then the final item is the planning commission appointment. Typically, the planning commission appointments are made by the mayor. And this is a little bit of a drawn out explanation as to this planning commission appointment. We have a regional planning commission, which means we have a requirement of a minimum of 2 members from the county or from the regional planning growth area. But it's not just a minimum of, it is just a minimum of 2. We could theoretically have more than 2 people from outside of the city limits, and in this case, I selected a person that is will be a third person from outside city limits because I feel he's extraordinarily qualified to do this job. He's on the county planning commission, he is a surveyor, and he's also recently become a certified floodplain manager. And you all know him, it's Brian McCain.
Right, yes.
And he's accepted it. The procedure, of course, for appointing someone from the growth area is I make a recommendation to the county mayor, and the county mayor then either accepts or rejects that. recommendation, and I have a letter here from the county mayor saying that he accepts this recommendation to appoint Mr. McCain to be on our planning commission. So that is it. Okay. And
So the
then-
board doesn't really need to do anything.
No, it's just more of an announcement that Brian will be an addition to our planning commission.
Wonderful.
I think he'll do a fantastic job. All right, the next item is surplus. We have a 1990 Chevrolet bus SWAT vehicle to sell on Gov Deals, a police department 1988 E1 fire engine to sell through used apparatus brokerage company. That is quite a name for a company, isn't it? And 2 fire extinguishers that are out of date that cannot be serviced from the park department. Do we have a motion to surplus these 3 items?
Motion to surplus those 3 items.
All right, all in favor, or second, sorry. Roll call on this one?
Jerry Curley. Tony Gross.
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz.
Yes.
Glenn Remick.
Yes.
Bob Stover.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We have no discussion only. The reminders are the Kingston Springs Farmers and Artisans Market is each Saturday. John, do you want to discuss any of what your ideas on that are?
The market was initially scheduled to go through the end of September. However, the summer has been very, very dry. Previously, there was a wet spring that hampered early start, dry summer that has hampered growth. Long story short, we don't have a lot of vegetables and we don't have a lot of vegetable vendors. So because of that fact, I've worked and spoken with all of our produce vendors, and we feel like it is best, rather than to just limp until we get to the end of September, to have the market end early, most likely the weekend of September 2nd, whatever the Labor Day weekend is. So that would be 3 more markets. But I'm going to talk again to all the other vendors Saturday morning to make sure that they're okay with us ending early, and we will refund funds to the ones that have paid up for the season on a per market basis of the amount of markets that we shortchanged.
The dinner on Main September 9th. I hope you guys are all there, and then in the park on October 6th. So, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.